Hi, Zach here from Flywheel Supply. I was going to show you guys how we time a John Deere engine. This will work on a 1.5 horse, a 3, or a 6. So take a look down here. I have the crank and the cam gear installed in the engine, but I've got the crankshaft rotated to where the connecting rod is and journal is like at the bottom of travel here. And you'll notice right on the side of the gear there's a timing mark right here and another one on the cam gear right here. So what you're going to want to do to put this together is get those two spots lined up, like up here. I'll show you. So you start with your cam gear in your hand and your crank gear here and roll this until you find that mark. So right here's your timing mark. You can barely see there, but they're there. They're hard to find sometimes. Then you need to find two timing marks on your cam gear. So you'll have one over here and one over here, and note where your keyway is right here. So the keyway kind of comes up here. You have a timing mark right behind it, like almost the middle of this pocket, but a little bit behind it. And then you'll have another timing mark over here, kind of opposite over here. And again, here's the keyways. So note where those two timing marks are. When this goes in the engine, the gear is going to be standing up like this, and one timing mark is going to line up to the cam or to the crankshaft gear, and one's going to line up to the mag gear. So we got to keep a good eye on this mark right here by my finger and install it against the crank like this. So I got that mark and I line it up with that mark, and it goes just like that. Then you're just going to rotate the engine and the gear, keeping it meshed together, and rotate it down in here until this gear comes in where you can slide the cam shaft into it. Before you slide it all the way together, verify that you have your timing marks still lined up correctly here. So I do. They're still lined up. And then you'll have to rotate the cam itself because it's keyed. So you're going to have to find the keyway of the gear and the cam and slide them together. Okay, and then it's only going to slide in part way because your cam follower and your push rod are going to be pushing back against your cam. So you can push your exhaust lever in like this, and then you'll be able to slide that cam the rest of the way in to the engine. Then you can install the nut and the lock washer on the cam. This is standard right hand thread, but note the governor down below is a left hand thread if you're taking that out for some reason. So put that in like so. Now you're going to roll it until this the two timing marks will be lined up here, and this timing mark will be exactly at 12 o'clock. You want it straight up and down here. So get it. So one timing mark is over here. That'll be lined up with your crank gear, and the other timing mark will be here, pointed straight up at 12 o'clock. Then you're going to take your mag and you're going to find the timing mark on it and roll it around until it's at the 6 o'clock position. So here's my timing mark on it, and I'm going to put that at 6 o'clock. And I'm just going to simply set it in there so that the two timing marks there line up. So I got those two together here and these two together over here. And then you'll install your mag at this point with the bolts in from the bottom. Now, for the sake of the video, you'll notice I don't have the felt or gasket on this mag here. So make sure before you go timing this, make sure you get that stuff put on there before you put it together. But I left it off because I thought it made it easier to see the gear and stuff without anything else hindering it. So now we need to time our igniter and our rocker arm for clearance here. We're going to roll it to right here where it's on the flat spot of the cam like that, and then there shouldn't be any pressure on our exhaust valve up here. So you should end up with maybe 10 thou or you know, a 1/16 of an inch of clearance between here. And if you don't have that, like right here, now you can see a little gap in there. If you don't have a little bit of clearance, you need to adjust your rocker arm bolt until you get a little bit of clearance right here so that it doesn't open too premature. So here we're going to find where our spark is marked on the flywheel, and we're going to roll this around until we're coming up here and it gets ready to fire. And we want the igniter to fire right before this gets in line with the push rod horizontally, about right there. But you can see I need to adjust it, so I'll try it again. I've adjusted it slightly, and we're going to roll it around again to see where we're at. Spark, and it comes down, and we're going to come up right here on compression, and it should fire right about here, right there. So you'll see, if you look down here, that my spark is happening just before my push rod is. I'm just about this much, before it, just a little bit. It'll run with it right on there, it just probably won't run quite as nice. You can mess around adjusting that, and all I did for that was slide the trip finger forward or backwards on the push rod ever so slightly. That's all you do for adjusting that, and then you should be good to go. Install the top cover, put the rest of the gaskets on, and away you go.